To Lighthouse Meadow, down here on the North Devon coast. We bought this beautiful piece of land in 2021 from woodlands.co.uk. I'm Tim, and over the next 2 years, my wife Charlotte and I, along with some press-ganged family and friends, are going to be planting nearly 3,000 native deciduous trees here. Our intention is to promote biodiversity and to link our woodland to the existing ancient woodland that borders the meadow. We're determined to undertake this project in the most environmentally friendly way we can, so that means no plastic tree guards or creosote fence posts. I'll be honest, we're total beginners at this and we've made a few mistakes already. So welcome to our beginner's guide to plastic-free tree planting. In this first film, we'll be showing you one option for tree planting that avoids the use of tree guards completely, while still providing protection for the young trees from deer and rabbits. Okay, that's enough for now. Let's show you what we've learned so far. So to avoid the need for us to use plastic tubing around our saplings, tubing that never really decomposes, we've gone for deer-proof fencing supported by rabbit-proof fencing. So the minimum height required for deer-proof fence is 1.5 metres. This is around about 1.8. And then the bottom half is the more tightly meshed rabbit-proof fencing, goes all the way down to the ground and is bent inwards and pegged down as well to stop the rabbits from digging in underneath, because that's the kind of thing they'd like to do to get to our trees. Let's go and have a look at some of the trees now. So when you're selecting your trees, you've got a choice. You can have bare root or you can have cell grown. We've gone for cell grown. So this is a hazel. You can see it's got its own soil around it. The roots are still good and strong, but it's grown in a clutch like this in a group of cells. And when it comes out, it's ready to plant. So you don't have to worry about the roots being damaged when you're planting them. When it comes to the tools, there's a lot of trial and error going on as well. For example, when we first started, we used a normal garden spade. We found in this rocky ground that was just too difficult, taking too long. So we then went for these, which is designed for digging in posts or narrow trenches, much narrower, sharper, perfect for digging in a small sapling, and we'll show you that shortly. We also started off with a metal lump hammer, but after all the bruises on my knuckles, we decided that wasn't the way to go. So we've gone for a normal rubber camping tent peg hammer, perfect for what we're doing. So, pegs. These are the pegs we use. They're wooden, biodegradable, again, moving away from metal and plastic. When you use those, they're used in combination with a mulch mat. And again, this is the second part of the process that removes the need to use plastic tubing. So what will happen is the whip, the tree, the sapling goes in, the mulch mat goes over it, and it's pegged down with the wooden pegs. And I'll demonstrate that in a second. This is designed to keep the grass down, to give that tree, the young tree, the opportunity to grow up without getting strangled and overpowered by the grass, because some of these are really quite small. Let's have a look how we do it. So again, a little bit more of a trial and error tip. I've got a spare mulch mat here, and this is where I keep my pegs, the sapling and my mallet. Far too many times when I first started doing this, I put one of those down and they just disappear in the long grass. So that mulch mat means I know exactly where everything is. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to try and pull away a little bit of the grass, hack that in, and then lever forward. And you can see I'm only going in about 8 to 10 centimetres. It doesn't need to be too deep. The whole idea of this is to lever the soil out of the way. I've got my little hazel whip sapling, bring it down, and it's pushing the soil back down around it. Now obviously we're planting in winter, which is a winter season. As you can see, the rain's going to be coming in shortly, so there's no need to water them in. Here's my mulch mat. You can see it's got a split down the middle. Literally just lay it over, and it's just a blanket really. Bring it nice and close, and I'm folding it over at the edge so that there's a nice close area around it. Bring in my pegs, and there's 5 pegs. First one, get a nice sharp one, goes into the overlap. It's in. Now these some are sharper and then blunter than others, so I'm going to keep a nice sharp one for the last bit. And then all it is pegging down the corners. And then the final one, we make sure there's a nice overlap, and really it's just a stitch. Goes in, holds it in nicely. Good luck, little tree. And it's protected, and that's it. Move on to the next one. So when you get your trees, they should be around about 2 years old. That means, depending on the species, they're going to be between 20 and 60 centimetres tall. So we've got a bit of a selection here. So here's the hazel that we've just planted. You'll see they're coming in a group. This isn't how they're grown. They're grown in the individual plugs, like this one, which is a hornbeam. But just for transportation, they're bunched together to keep that moisture in and keep them safe. So you see the hazel's quite tall and quite thick and strong. Hornbeam, a little bit more spindly. And finally, tucked around here, we have our oaks. Big, strong trees at the end, but not so big at the start with. The planting process is exactly the same, but of course, with some of the more spindly and brittle ones, you're going to have to be a lot more careful when you're actually planting them. One other thing I wanted to mention about the mulch mat is, as well as keeping the grass down, it absorbs the moisture when it rains and it keeps it in there, giving the tree a little bit of extra fluid in that first vital few months. Final tip really is to get as much help as you can. This is a labour of love, but it's certainly a labour. These two haven't been that helpful, but it's always nice to have extra company. There's a book that's coming out through woodlands.co.uk called Tree Planting: How to Create a Woodland, written by Anthony Mason. It's got some really, really good tips in it and has been a good help for us. Really interested to know any tips that you may have, any experiences that you've had planting your own woodland, whether you've gone for plastic tubing or whether you've gone for the mulch mat and fencing we have, why you made those choices and what advantages you have. Thanks for joining us and keep watching. It's a great channel, more tips on this channel for you.